I give it to the LG. The LG is noticeably better to me. I like to know where people stand so I know how to treat you accordingly.
Baby trying to do it, I'm just doing me. I be working hard and they just want it free. Let's go. Look at how I'm whipping, so they tripping now. Take away the fake, you see the difference now.
Be competitive with yourself. Hey, what's going on? This is Jsean for another pickup. So if you saw my last video, this is basically a piggyback off of the Vizio video, right? I got that Vizio because I was looking for an affordable, inexpensive gaming and media option, right? Now, I still stand by that and say it's a good option, especially if you want to stick to a certain budget. Now, me, I had an ideal budget, but I didn't have a definite budget. So if you pay maybe around $100 more, you could have got like an entry-level Samsung, which I'm more familiar with, which I tend to like more. But with this being said, that Vizio was a little over $200. Now, I feel like for what I was paying for it, it's what I expected, and I was happy with that, right? So fast forward again, I ended up picking up an LG, and I'll piggyback off this video to that video to give you a quick, like I said, in my experience. That is the UN7070. That TV, man, I check the video out, and I'll give you a kind of quick explanation, but to make it quick, basically, as possible, is that TV inspired me to check out an LG to replace the Vizio. That was a 40-inch, which to me was a perfect size. If anything, I probably could have went a little smaller. Now, it's right here now, and it is noticeably bigger. It's a 43-inch. It's not a lot bigger, but it's very slight, but it's actually noticeable. I can tell it's a little bit bigger. Nothing crazy, but I can tell it's a little bit bigger. User interface alone, I definitely still give it to the Vizio. I don't know why. I just really enjoyed how the setup was. It seemed like it doesn't matter if you're older, younger, tech savvy or anything, as long as you feel comfortable with punching your information into the screen, I felt like the user interface was smooth to me on the V series Vizio. I liked it better, actually. Not that the LG is bad or anything, but I just thought the user experience was pretty nice. Now, as far as this, it just felt more simple than this. This has more options and menus within menus and stuff like that. Now, as far as picture quality alone, I give it to the LG. The LG is noticeably better to me. I don't care if it's gaming or if it's movies or what, it's noticeably better. Now, I don't know if it's my eyes are bad or just because these are entry-level 4K options, but none of the TVs look overly super detailed like you would think a 4K TV would be. I don't know why. Even if I boost the sharpness quite a bit, I don't think it's overly sharpened looking or overly crystal clear looking, I guess I would say. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's probably because they're entry-level options. Now, one thing I want to talk about with the Vizio. Now, again, if your budget is like $100 or $150 and you got to go up $60 more or so to get the Vizio, I still recommend it. You know what I'm saying? But if your budget is literally at $150, do I recommend you spending $280 on this? I don't really recommend that because everybody has their budgets and price points. Because if you look at it that way, then another $100 on top of this, or $400 or $500, you're gonna always keep thinking you only have to spend an extra $100, and then you're gonna be spending thousands at that point. You just gotta know what your budget is, what you need, what you want, and what satisfies you and your purposes for it. Now, for me, I didn't have a direct budget. It was an ideal budget that I wanted to stick to. After having the other LG, I was thinking to myself, like, am I gonna let $60 stop me from investing to the LG version? You know what I'm saying? It's not like this is like super expensive either in comparison. But I was like, I felt like it was worth taking a chance and spending an extra $60 for me personally, because I'm able to do it. Again, if you're not able because of budget restrictions, then I don't suggest you just keep going higher and higher. But I will tell you, it's noticeably better for sure. I like it a lot. I'm super satisfied with it, 100%. I know maybe missing certain things here and there, just like the Vizio. But if you had a choice and budget wasn't an issue, obviously I would get the LG. If you just were looking for entry level option like I initially was, definitely the Vizio is great. I think it's a good option to get your foot in there. I don't not recommend it just because I got this. I still recommend it. I just say that this is still better though by a few steps, right? noticeably better. Now, there are some things on here, like this doesn't have HDMI 2.1. It doesn't have eARC or Dolby Vision or HDR 10 Plus, I believe it's called. The Vizio does have it. Now, when I told you about the Vizio, I said on there that there was HDMI 2.1, but I wasn't sure how accurate that was, if it was actually like a real native 2.1 plug or some kind of software thing. We'll come to find out, unless you're spending higher in the chain of Vizios, not the V series, that's like an entry level, but I think it's because somebody left a comment below talking about the different series. I don't remember if it was, I forgot the name of them, but anyway, because a lot of TVs aren't 120, they have that motion rate thing where it's like a software boost of some kind, and it can stiffen the gameplay up a little bit so it doesn't look as blurry, because most monitors under $1,000 or TVs under $1,000, especially this size or bigger, are not going to be that. They're going to be like 60 natively, right? So they're talking about the 2.1 in the Vizio. This doesn't have it. This has 2.0 inputs. Now, there's like a caveat with it, because so they're saying TV makers are technically allowed to claim HDMI 2.1 based on features like ALLM or eARC, and that can be implemented on HDMI 2.0 chipset, but it will not give you the actual higher bit rate or bandwidth of HDMI 2.1 ports. So technically, it doesn't really have 2.1 like you're thinking. So the 2.1, for those who may not know, is basically it can allow for 8K at 60 or 4K at 120. Now, the Vizio says 2.1 and all this other stuff, but it's not actually what you think. You know what I'm saying? So you're not losing out. I thought maybe I was losing out on the updated inputs or ports compared to this, even though they came out around the same time frame in 2020, I guess. But the more I researched it, it's what I thought. The 2.1 is not actually what you think, as far as what you may be looking for as far as for gaming and stuff like that. And none of these are the best gaming monitors or anything like that, but they're not bad at all for sure. Now, this screen right here is actually an IPS display, which is supposed to be better for like angle view, like looking at the screen from different angles, like I said. And it's actually saying it has a little bit better color than the bigger screen. Quality-wise, I think visually, they seem the same to me. Definitely think this is a great step up. As far as like how I'm satisfied with it, I don't really feel like I need to spend any more. Even if there's more options that are like another $100 or another $200, I'm actually stuck on this, where I actually have no complaints about it. This screen looks good. I play HD content on it. I play 4K content on it on this screen and the larger screen. Definitely recommend both of them. Again, if I had to pick between the LG or the Vizio, if budget wasn't a factor, obviously the LG. If they cost the same price, obviously the LG. If your budget is a factor, go for the Vizio. I still think it's a great buy. The things that bother me about it may not bother you at all. Again, the user interface is still better to me on a Vizio. They're both good though, but I just preferred it on the Vizio.